Hey, my name is Zach, and today I'm going to teach you how to do a taser effect using After Effects. If you want to add sound effects or color grading after, I would recommend using Premiere Pro or just your editing software of choice. Now, the first step we take with this project is understanding how a taser works. So let's start the lesson. There are stun guns and there are regular tasers. Stun guns are used at very close range and emit a high voltage charge to an attacker through two prongs, while a taser has two electrodes that shoot out from a compressed gas cartridge. The electrodes are attached to long wires that come out from the weapon, all the while having two barbs that bury themselves in an attacker's skin or clothes, and finally delivering an extremely painful voltage charge. Nice. Tasers can be used up to 15 feet away, making them very useful for attackers with weapons, such as knives or guns. And that's where our video comes in today. Today, we'll be looking at the regular taser and seeing if we can mimic its effects using the power of editing. So first, what you want to do is record yourself or somebody else pretending to get struck by these electrodes. Now remember, there's two of them, so if you want your scene to be flashier, you could have two reactions. I'm actually working on a Halloween fan film this coming year, and there's a scene in it where Michael Myers gets tased by a cop. So I made this video for a test shot to see if I could pull the effect off. I will be using this test shot as reference to show you how it might look. To achieve this look, we're going to import our footage into After Effects and drop it into a new composition. Now remember when I said you could have two reactions? That is exactly what I did when I made this test shot. I was in the costume myself, and what I did when I imagined the taser hitting me is I threw my shoulder to the side and my other shoulder to the other side, thus making the electrodes look like they had much more of an impact. Now when a taser hits you in real life, there's probably not going to be a pause between the electrodes shooting out, and you won't even have time to move your shoulders back and forth. The second those electrodes hit your skin, you're hitting the ground. But for film purposes, I decided to make it a little bit flashier. I created a new solid and switched the color to white. I can always alter this color later if need be. I used the pen tool to draw a mask, basically making a very thin, long rectangle, almost like a line. This is going to be one of the wires that shoots out of the taser. Now I don't have a physical taser prop, so what I did was I edited the wires coming from off screen. Although if you do want a physical device on set, I did a little bit of research and you can find a prop taser on Amazon or on eBay, both for about 30 bucks. You can find many free smoke assets on footagecrate.com, that is what I use most. Just remember to set them to screen mode so that they blend in better with the shot. The smoke asset I found dissolved a little bit too fast, so I made it longer using the time stretch tool in After Effects and setting it to 85%. Adding smoke to your taser shot will also make the electrodes look more aggressive and powerful when they shoot out. For the wire, I added another mask to the end of it and feathered it, just so it wasn't so abrupt on my clothing. After that, I added a CC cross blur effect and I changed the radius X to 73. This will make the white on the wire just not so bold and vibrant. And next, what you're going to do is add a liquefy effect to add little waves in the wire to make it look not so much like a perfect line. These imperfections will definitely help make it look more real, almost like it was once a coiled up wire. Next, take your mask and move it so that one end is touching your subject and the other end is going off screen. Just make sure you pick a good spot on your subject and remember it. Next, you're going to click the keyframe button on the anchor point, position, scale, and rotation so the stopwatch turns blue. And then you'll go frame by frame, gradually moving your wire as the subject reacts to it. It'll take some time, and it's definitely trial and error. And don't forget to click this box to add motion blur. This will really tie the effect together and blend it in better. Now add a solid layer, making it white, mask out a second wire, and do it all again. Yay! Just obviously somewhere else on the body. And just make sure that it makes sense for your subject's movements. You know, like if he's straining his shoulder, his leg shouldn't probably be the one appearing in pain. Now comes the next step, the electricity. Now with a real taser, you're not going to see visible currents of electricity shooting out, but to make things look cooler and more stylized for film, I will. Like I mentioned before, I usually get my assets on footagecrate.com. They offer a great and free library to choose from. This video is not sponsored by them, I just like them a lot. But I wasn't liking how their electricity assets were looking, so I made kind of an odd move. I actually used muzzle flashes that would normally be placed in a gunfight scene. And I used the Lumetri color effect to tint them blue, to appear more electrical-like. I scaled them down and placed them onto the wires to make it look like they were traveling through them and sparking outward. So I do this every now and then throughout the scene and try to put the assets in moments and areas that make sense. Like how when Michael throws his head to the side quickly, I'll add a little shock right there on the side of his neck. The next step, adding artificial light to the scene. If you wanted to do this practically, you could always shine a small LED light like this and change it to a blue setting, and then wave it off camera to your actor to mimic the light of the taser. And then whenever the blue light shines on their shoulders or torso or whatever, you would add the footage create asset in post. But if you don't want to do that though, or if you don't have access to a small LED light, I'll show you how to do it the After Effects way. What you want to do is double your layer of the actor reacting to the voltage, and then take the pen tool and draw masks around where your electricity will be. My character is wearing a white mask, so that blue light will really show and reflect off of it. After you make your masks, add a lumetri color effect to the layer and tint it to a very bright blue. You can eyeball it to match the color to the electricity, or you can always use the eyedropper tool. Lastly, you'll feather it a whole bunch so that it's not so sharp. Don't forget to cut out the portions of the layer where the electricity doesn't show. After you got that done, we move on to our final step and one of my favorites, sound design. I'll be using a program called Soundly. I found out about it from Film Riot, shout out to them, and I use it all the time. Again, I'm not sponsored by this program, I just love it a lot. There is a free option, but for this I'll be using the paid version called Soundly Pro, since it has many more sounds to choose from. I'll look up a taser sound effect and an electricity burst sound effect. I'll place it into my footage in moments that make sense. You know what, I'll even add the pistol gunshot sound effect, why not? Even though that makes no sense. Add a little color grade, and once that's all done, you have this. If you have absolutely any questions about this, feel free to comment them down below. And as I said before, if you want to check out my Halloween fan film coming later next year, feel free to like and subscribe. Until next time, I'm Zach, hoping you have a great day and an even greater tomorrow. Thanks for watching.